must there be a Superman?
There is.
Undoubtedly, there was going to be naysayers, there was going to be haters, and there was going to be people calling out the Superman teaser trailer. And while we knew that there was going to be a large outcry from those on the Snyder cultist side of things, I was a little shocked to see, well, a major trade like The Hollywood Reporter actually ask this question and question the teaser trailer itself. It got me thinking, what is it about this teaser trailer that differentiates itself from that of past iterations? So they put the question out, does the world still want Superman? That is the question that The Hollywood Reporter put out there. And like I said, there are a lot of people out there who are questioning this version of Superman. And this article kind of echoes their sentiment and some of the arguments that they're trying to put out. Mind you, I love this trailer. I'm sure you've seen some of my shorts. You may have seen my live stream. You may have seen my reaction video. Whatever it is, you probably know at this point in time that I really enjoyed this trailer. I think it hit all the spots perfectly. But I kind of see the point of view that The Hollywood Reporter is getting at, and even some of the people that are big Snyder fans, where they're coming at. But I'm able to come at it from a different angle because I am looking at it from both sides with really open eyes. And the amazing thing about that is because I am a Snyder fan. I am a fan of what Zack Snyder was doing. I'm a fan of Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, Zack Snyder's Justice League, but I'm also excited and a fan of what's to come with this movie as well as the DCU. So let's kind of take a look at this. I want to look at this article here. So as I said, The Hollywood Reporter asked, does the world still want Superman? So does the world want Superman?
Yes! Yes! Yes!
This article says things are looking up indeed. After a week of build-up, the highly anticipated trailer for James Gunn's Superman finally arrived, and all eyes are on the sky. Look up, everyone. Look up. As the first live-action installment of the DCU, a lot is riding on Superman. Absolutely. We know there's a lot riding on this. I've admitted that. James Gunn has even admitted it. A lot is riding on this movie. But don't get it wrong. Just because a lot is riding on this movie doesn't mean that this movie has to make $1.5 billion. This needs to grab the attention of the audience, of the general audience. It needs to bring people back to being fans of DC. That's the most important thing. Yes, it needs to make money. I'm not saying that money isn't important. I get that. Yes, money is important. It can't make $200 million and be like, oh, there, at least it got people's eyes on DC. No. It needs to make money, but it needs to reinvigorate people's love and interest in DC. Anyways, not only is an entire cinematic universe dependent on the success of this film, but Gunn must also cut through the world's cynicism and deliver a take on the character whose cinematic depiction for many audiences hasn't resonated since 1978. Now, I did actually catch a video of, I believe his name is The Real Shift. I've talked about him before, and he kind of made a good point. I'm going to say this. He made a good point because he said, really, there has been other depictions that have resonated with fans since 1978, specifically Henry Cavill. He's not wrong. Henry Cavill did resonate with fans, but not in the way that he's thinking, not in the way that a certain sect of fans are thinking. You see, these fans are all thinking like Henry Cavill resonated in a sense that, oh, they loved what he did with Zack Snyder. No. There are fans out there, there are people out there, and I've talked to many of them who believe that Henry Cavill was perfect for the role of Superman, but hated the movies he was in, despised the way that they treated Superman in those movies. So while they really appreciated and thought that he was really good in the role of Superman, they wanted to see him taken in a more traditional way of the character, and they were not getting that under Snyder's direction. So while, yes, I kind of agree that Henry Cavill as Superman resonated with fans. They really enjoyed Henry Cavill as Superman. They saw him as stoic and heroic and very much fitting the role. The story, the whole, everything encapsulating what was around him didn't work. It continues. The teaser trailer makes it clear that Superman 25 is not Superman 78. Very much so, yes. Composer John Murphy's guitar riff on John Williams' classic theme breathes new life into Superman as hero and symbol, suggesting that Superman, while hanging on to the core themes associated with the character, is a living and evolving concept, an electric current through the world. Now, this is another thing that I really love about this teaser, and this is very dead on. It is a trailer that is showing, look, this is not a continuation. This is not Superman 78. However, we are going to take the greatest thing, one of the greatest things from that movie, from that era, and we're going to evolve it. I actually saw a post from our boy Aaron Fisher. You all know him, maybe not, but a lot of people that watch this channel know Aaron Fisher. And he actually said that it was a disgrace to utilize John Williams' theme with an electric guitar. He said it was a disgrace. Look, I've said it multiple times. I didn't think that they needed to use the John Williams score. I thought that they needed to create their own thing. If they paid homage to it, great. I've said it multiple times. But here's the thing. I think what they did here is amazing because the Superman theme, the iconic John Williams Superman theme, is synonymous with Superman. It truly is. And you evolve that, you take it into the future, and you make it new with this new Superman. It absolutely works. Absolutely works. So there is something uncomfortable, but not at all unwelcome in hearing Superman struggle to breathe. The moment grounds us in the fact that Superman feels pain. One of the frequent complaints about Superman from non-comic reading general audiences and those who've missed out on Superman the Animated Series and other various media adaptations is that he's overpowered and rarely faces hard physical challenges. This teaser nips that in the bud right away, showing that Superman is very much physically fallible. Fantastic. Now, I want to point something out here. This movie is doing something different than what we saw in the previous iteration, all right? This is showing us that he is physically fallible. This is showing us that he's physically capable of being defeated in some form or fashion. That was done, absolutely, in the previous iteration, that was done by utilizing kryptonite. Maybe that's what they do here. Maybe, we don't know yet. The last iteration was more so on an emotional level, on a mental level of some sort, that he was being beaten down that way. He was struggling that way. It also looks like that may happen in this iteration as well, but he's also physically beaten here. And that was important to show for a couple reasons. One, it piques the interest of the audience. It makes them question, what is it that can beat Superman like that? And number two, it brings him down to life a little bit. And that's something that you really have to respect James Gunn on doing. In the first teaser, the first trailer, the first view, the first thing we see of Superman is that he's beaten. Very interesting. Not only do we see physically beaten, but emotionally beaten as well. Walks through an angry crowd that throws bottles and cans at him. He's escorted into Stag Industries by the police, where he stands with a sense of weight of the world on his shoulders. It's clear that Superman is not universally beloved, and as a reflection of contemporary America, we see him at his lowest. While there looks to be a significant tonal departure from previous Superman films in both style and the comic book elements introduced, it's ironic that after a decade of complaints about a non-smiling Superman and his controversial perception on the global stage, these themes remain present in Gunn's take. Now, this specific moment here is what a lot of people are pulling out of this article and saying, yeah, see, look, people are hypocrites. Everyone's a hypocrite. But we're not, and they're not, because there are major differences between what Gunn is showing and highlighting in this trailer compared to what we saw and was shown through what Snyder created for that decade, or really few films. So for instance, I want to touch on the music. Now, I am a huge music fan. I love what Hans Zimmer created, and then I really like how Junkie XL came in and continue to build on that. But let's specifically look at Man of Steel for a second. Man of Steel is a phenomenal score. But there's something about that score that is very down. It is very dark and mysterious, and I love it. I love that score. It is one of my favorite. It's on my playlist. I listen to it all the time. But here's the thing. While Flight, where he's flying, first time taking flight, that is phenomenal. That is a great piece of music. Most of the music in Man of Steel is not as hopeful, not as exciting, not as impactful. It won't hit you like the music did in this trailer. But this music, Robert, isn't John Murphy's music. He's took John Williams' Superman theme. But that's the thing. I go back to that. The Superman theme is so iconic. And when you update it to modern day, it makes you feel something. So even though we're seeing moments in the trailer that show Superman struggling, you have that music in the background. You are still feeling that hopefulness in that. And that is why people are coming out of this teaser trailer feeling hopeful because of that music. You go back to Man of Steel, and people came out of that movie not feeling that hope. Yeah, there were moments there, but I understand why people don't. The music is a big part of truly getting the feel of a movie, getting the feel of the story. And this is one of those times when you take a look at the music, and granted, this is only a 2.5 minute long trailer, if that, but the music is really what's helping move the audience in a way of feeling hopefulness. That's one. Number two are some of the scenes we see. First off, we see Superman fighting. We see him fighting a bad guy. We see Lex Luthor, who's the evil one. We see him pissed off and angry. But we also see Superman being heroic and saving a little girl in the middle of a battle in a city. Now, we don't see his face necessarily, but he's doing something absolutely heroic. This after we see him beaten down and just incapable of doing anything. That is a very heroic thing. With the swell of the music, remember, it's all about the music is helping tell the story because there's no dialogue here. So the music is really pushing this along. You take a look at Man of Steel. You take a look at Batman versus Superman. There's not really many moments of Superman saving people in a heroic way. Absolutely, we see him saving somebody from a building and he coming down and people looking at him like a god. But he has this look on his face like very stoic and not smile. I'm not talking about this not being a smiling Superman. But what I'm saying is it's not an exciting moment and the music is boom, 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 boom. It's really down and drawden. It's same, with when he's rescuing the boat and pulling the boat. He's, rescuing the ship, the spaceship. All these things are very somber and dark and deep. But this moment with saving the child is, very big, bombastic moment of music, hopeful, exciting. And that's what I'm trying to explain is this reporter, whoever wrote this report on Hollywood Reporter, is not putting this correlation together. And you have to understand that there's correlation to music, there's correlation to what you're visually seeing on screen, to the music, to what's going on, to the story that's being told. I loved the story that Zack Snyder was saying. And I know there's a lot of people out there who do. You're letting yourself get invested in that story. I allowed myself to get invested in that story. And here's something that's really interesting that I want you all to maybe do. People sit there and talk about how much people enjoyed Zack Snyder's Justice League. I want you to take a second and step back and listen to the music from Man of Steel to Batman vs. Superman to Zack Snyder's Justice League. And you will see the tonal differences in all three, how they are very tonally different, and how more bombastic, more hopeful Zack Snyder's Justice League music is compared to the other two. I would say it's not out of place that more people enjoy that movie because of that. I would say that is a big reason why people enjoy that movie, because the music within that movie throughout, in many moments, is far more hopeful sounding than the other two movies. So the music plays a large role in why this teaser trailer does what it does in making you feel hopeful. On top of the scenes that we see of him being heroic, fighting a kaiju monster, fighting Ultraman, and seeing Crypto. Who doesn't love seeing Crypto? That's a cute little moment with Crypto, and it's adorable. Things like that. But again, people want to sit there and draw these comparisons and say, look, these people are hypocrites because Superman is upset. No, it's not just about that. It's about the way that it is portrayed. It's about the way that it is visually shown through the story. You take a look at the scene in Batman vs. Superman when he's going into the Capitol building and the people are all there yelling and screaming at him. We know that scene and everything around that, why that's happening. But in this teaser trailer, we are okay with it because we're understanding, according to this little story, this 2-minute and 20-second story, that there's hope around this, that there's people now chanting Superman, Superman, Superman behind the music that is swelling up, which we know, okay, people are upset about him, but we can tell with the music, with the swelling of the music, and people are eventually going to be chanting and wanting Superman, Superman. Do you see why there's a difference between this and that? I don't know if there's a better way to explain it, but I think that is probably the best way that I can do it. Maybe there's others out there who can explain it better than that. But when you compare that and try to sit there and say, oh, there's people who are hypocrites for liking this compared to that, you just have to step back and you have to realize you have this story over here that did this. And in this 2-minute and 20-second story, this is what they were able to do. This is why people enjoy it and feel hopeful and like what they see here compared to that. I don't know. You got to let me know what you think, though, in the comments below. I want to know what you guys feel about this teaser. What did you feel coming out of it? I know you guys liked it, but how did you feel? Did you feel hopeful? Did you feel excited? Like, what was it that you felt? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Hit that like button, hit subscribe, share this around. With all that said, I'll catch you all later.